j'aimerais vous entendre effectivement sur une question, moi, qui m'a travaillé dans le film, c'est qu'on entend un intervenant à un moment dire qu'il n'y a pas de réel intérêt économique qui soutienne la traite des femmes. Or, on a quand même le sentiment dans ce que vous dites, Madame von Arx-Vernon, que ce n'est pas le cas, qu'il y a quand même un intérêt économique, en tout cas pour une couche d'exploitants dans la traite des femmes, et qui explique aussi qu'elle perdure. Madame Aghatise, vous êtes vraiment experte dans la question de la traite des femmes. On imagine que dans des pays où le tourisme sexuel, par exemple, est très développé, il y a un vrai intérêt mauvais, certes, mais économique qui existe, non?
Yeah. I did not actually agree with that affirmation that there was no, or there's no economic interest on the part of states or whatever in the question of trafficking and in the monetary result that comes from it. We are talking of an industry that generates over $10 billion yearly. So we are not talking of chicken change, we're talking of billions of dollars. And many states are earning huge amounts of scarce foreign exchange from these monies. So many times, yes, the laws are there. I quite agree when Ms. Jilani says laws alone are not enough to address the issue. The laws are there. But the political will is lacking, mainly because there is a vested economic interest in it. So many states are ready to turn a blind eye. The question of corruption in many of these countries, you have government officers directly involved in the trafficking and exploitation of the women. And these are things that their governments know, but almost nothing is being done about it. If at all anything is being done, there is more lip service being paid to it than actual activities, serious actions being taken to contrast it. So it isn't true that states don't have an interest. They do, and that's a law.
And you would observe this on the international level as well, not in any countries. C'est dans tous les pays la même chose, pas seulement dans les pays du tiers-monde,
yes,
ce lien économique.
Yes, in all countries of the world. I mean, it's either a question, the main interest they have is of an economic nature. Then the second interest is that of a social nature, where people say to avoid having to deal with social issues at home, they turn a blind eye. For instance, the question of incest, the question of domestic violence, and they say, oh, this kind of lifts the pressure at home, in the sense that men who have this outlet to deal with their aggressive nature will then no longer have the opportunity to carry it out in their homes back home. And so it becomes that of a social interest in just turning a blind eye and allowing the abuse to continue. While what would be healthier and more profitable in the long run will be that of addressing the social issues, that of instituting programs in schools that will teach the women their rights, because many women, unfortunately, do not know their rights, and that will also teach men their rights, to say that, look, if you behave in a certain manner, it is your choice, but it is not proper. I mean, to change a certain kind of paternalistic culture that sees women as objects, the objectification of women. So there's a need to work on these social problems and not just pretend that they don't exist and then allow the abuse to continue. Because if we continue like that, it's all talk.
Niveau social, niveau économique. Juste pour continuer sur le niveau économique, Madame Jilani, ça veut dire finalement que tant qu'il y a des clients, on parle toujours de clients d'ailleurs dans le film qui sont destinés à la traite des femmes, tant qu'il y a des clients, la traite des femmes existe. Donc ça veut dire que quoi? On arrive forcément à une solution on criminalise totalement les clients pour réussir à lutter contre la traite des femmes, par exemple?
Well, in the first place, I think the economic interest doesn't only start with the state. It really begins at home. This film tells its own story. These children were sold by, many of these children were sold by their families. So there is an economic interest that goes right to the family, which should actually be a unit where people and women and children are looking for protection. So that unit in itself has become a negative element that spurs this whole trade of trafficking. Yes, I do feel that there is a responsibility on the society to eliminate what they call a need which will never go away. It is the responsibility of the state to protect exploitation and the sacrifice of women and children to what they call a need. And I do believe that this will come if you do criminalize certain actions. Prostitution is criminalized in many countries. But those who buy sex, they are not criminalized. So, I mean, I do believe that there is some sense in those who are asking for criminalization of buying sex, especially when governments who have people or citizens who harm children and women outside and beyond their borders. I think there must be some legal restraint on these activities. So it's not just the countries where tourism is existing and people go there in quest for child sex or other kinds of sexual pleasures. It should be those governments whose citizens are involved in doing that by going beyond their borders. They have as much to contribute towards elimination of this problem as a part of the world community. They have as much responsibility to eliminate exploitation wherever it is happening.